Welcome to Rent or Die, the podcast where we break down the truth about real estate, property management, and building wealth. Whether you're a seasoned investor, an apartment building owner, or maybe you're thinking about getting into rental real estate, we've got the insights to help you win in the rental game. Thanks for tuning in. Let's jump into today's episode. Okay, you are usually hiring a real estate broker, and that's why we're here. Okay, there's a lot of different options out there. There's 1,000 realtors everywhere. You know, it's a super competitive industry, so you have to decide to pick a broker. A lot of people go with somebody that, oh, I've got a guy, or hey, call my cousin, or that type of thing. And I'll tell you, well, first of all, I'm not trying to sell any houses to any family members. I'll tell you that. If the relationship is actually so strong, I would suggest not doing business with them to begin with. It has lots of pitfalls. And I mean, unless you don't care about that relationship, then why are you hiring the person to begin with? In any event, so people are saying, like, nowadays, like, all right, how can you charge 1%? And every time somebody says that, I always ask, like, well, don't you think I'm going to sell the house because of 1%? What you pay me, do you think that impacts the performance or what you're getting? Because it doesn't at all. And that's why for years, previously, so I say it's a 1% listing fee. So usually the buyer's broker is still going to come in and ask 2.5%, even though that's negotiable, right? But that's usually what's going to happen. So you're looking at basically all in at 3.5% because I'm charging 1%. That's the down and dirty to it. And other people who are charging, a 2.5%, my dog is sneezing, a 2.5% listing fee, that's basically 5%, okay? That's a mega difference in money. Just take out your calculator and you want to figure it out. If your house is $300,000, times it by 0.035. That is the commission, okay? That's my commission. And then take it and go, times 0.05. And that's typically what a lot of these brokers are charging. Now, I won't quote them, but I've heard of administrative fees on top of that. So like 5% plus $4.95. Where does that go? Who's getting the $4.95? It's just like an administrative fee. So you charge so much money, then you charge an administrative fee. Don't you think that's a little bit excessive? I mean, I can't say. I don't know. People charge whatever they want to charge. I charge 1%. It's kind of like if you go to get your car fixed and a mechanic quotes you $2,500 and another mechanic quotes you $1,000 and you say, all right, I'm going to go $1,000 and your car gets fixed. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that, right? And it's not like, cars nowadays, you got all these computers, so you need this high-tech firm, and real estate is not like that. That's not how real estate works. Real estate works like this. If I'm going to buy a house as a buyer, I'm going to look on the internet, and then I'm going to make an inquiry on the house. And whenever I make the inquiry, it may or may not be to the person who has the house for sale. In that first interaction with that broker, the first thing they're going to ask me is, where are you looking? What town? Right? What are your requirements? How many bedrooms do you need? How many bathrooms do you need? I'm going to put you in our system, and you're going to get a bunch of emails, and you can select houses that you're interested in and want to see, houses you're not interested in and don't want to see, and then reach out to me and let me know so I can make sure I have the right buyer requirements. That's how it goes. That is literally how it goes. And then the buyer receives a list of all the homes that meet their criteria, and then the buyer chooses which homes they want to see. It's not really complicated, right? So when a listing agent comes to your door and they're telling you, well, our company is affiliate, we have a relocation company. What are they talking about? What value is there? You have a relocation company that gives you guys leads, Cardis, or one of these big relo companies that cater to the Fortune 100. Okay, that's cool, but like as a home seller, you got to cut through this stuff and say, okay, if you had a relocation client, is there some agreement that the buyer that's using a relocation company is only going to buy houses that are listed by your firm? No, it doesn't make sense. So it's not value added to someone who's selling a house. And I'll tell you, I would be cautious and I would think carefully about the people who are telling you this stuff as you're settling and saying, "Oh, I trust this person because they were referred," right? No, I agree. Sometimes referrals are unbelievably great. And people have had positive experiences with people. My clients refer me to other people. But even whenever I get referred, I show up and I tell the truth and I kind of cut the nonsense out of the deal. These things, I don't tell people things are value add when their value so minimal that it's not value add, right? Because why would I do that? I don't think that is appropriate. So here we go. So when this person tells you, well, if you hire somebody who's charging 1%, they're not going to be able to negotiate for you. I mean, they will literally say anything in the planet to get your business. That's the honest to God truth, isn't it? I mean, how does that, if I'm giving you a great deal at 1%, right? A listing fee of 1%, right? I've got 20 years of experience. I've got tons of successes. What would compel you to believe that I'm not going to be able to sell that property because of what some other broker says? It's outrageous, guys. It's outrageous. You're being sold. You're being asked to overpay for services. So when you list a home, the first thing I do, okay, I go to your house. Hey, are you thinking of selling? You say yes. I ask you to show me the house. I write down everything about your home. Maybe I'll snap some photos, take some measurements. I'll go back. I'll do a market analysis. I'll send that over to you, and we'll start talking price. I'll say this is what I think the home's worth based on all these comps, these comparable homes. And then you'll say, hey, I think you might be a little high. That don't happen too often. Or you might say, hey, I think you're a little low. And I'll say, all right, well, let's talk about our pricing strategy. When you set your price, here's what it's going to mean, right? And so we do that dance, and then, we settle on a price, right? If you want to price it way too high, I'm going to probably say, I don't know if I'm interested in that because it's sky high. It's never going to sell. And sometimes I'll let another broker go first. But I'll tell you, go ahead, hire that other broker because they're not going to sell the house. And then, please call me back though. I'll be the second one in instead of the first one in. Or I'll be the first one in and we'll fight it out and try to get as much money as we can, right? But that's how the thing goes down. We set a price, and then the first thing we do is we put it on the multiple listing service, and we put it on the open market. We don't put it on the private market. There's a new thing going around where we have the private market available on the MLS. Well, guess what? When you put that house on the private market, you can forget about it getting seen on Zillow. So how is that helping you, again, as a home seller, if your home is listed on the private market? And of course, you can craft these ideas around, it's going to be good because the house might sell, while we're taking pictures or getting the sign up and, that type of thing. Yeah, I mean, it's true, but your highest value is always going to come from whenever you're lit on the market, where every buyer in the market can see your home for sale, right? So anyway, we put the house on the actual open market on the multiple listing service. The minute that property gets submitted, it goes all over the internet. It does. It goes to the RE/MAX sites, Zillow, Trulia, ColdwellBankerOnline.com, Century 21, all these real estate websites. they syndicate, because if you think back to how I mentioned buyers call, the more houses that are on the market that they're showing on their website increases the likelihood that a buyer is going to call, and they're going to get to work on that buyer, maybe not to sell your house, but to sell another house, right? Or if a buyer calls, maybe that's how the showing's generated for your listing. So all that stuff is value add, right? When the house is everywhere, all over the market. So at that point, think about it. Come on. You're intelligent people. Don't buy the hype. It can be scary when you're about to sell your house. You can be pretty much vulnerable. There's a lot of information out there on the internet. There's a lot of resources out there. It's like information overload. Maybe you're using ChatGPT to get information. Your friends are telling you things. Everybody has advice. Everybody has a referral, right? It's just like so much information. But please, let's think about it intelligently. Let's be smart. If the buyer is going to shop online first, right? They're going to get in touch with a real estate broker who's going to instantly ask them about the requirements and set them up on an automated listing service, okay? They're going to start getting listings. They're going to decide if they're interested, if they're not interested, or if they're maybe interested, right? And the broker sees all that. Then when it's time to set up showings, the broker looks and says, what are these people interested in? And then that's where that buyer's broker starts setting up showings, right? And then they take the buyer and go out there and show them houses. That's how the thing works. So on the listing side of this, so we still charge 1%, which I think is a lot of money. But in turn, these real estate deals can be tough. I mean, they can be tough, and they can have a lot of turns. People say the darndest things, I guess I'll say, in a real estate deal. And so you do want actual representation. You do want to have someone who is familiar with some of these comebacks during the inspection period. Instead of just taking the route of, okay, I'm going to sell my house, and I'm not sure what to do. So if anybody asks me for anything, I'll just kill the deal, right? I mean, that's a problem. Like if a home. Like a lot of home sellers have other jobs. If you think about your job and your expertise within your job and all the things that you know and the technical stuff that you know that exists within your job, real estate's the same way, okay? And so I'll ask you, do you think that I could show up at your work based on your position description or your job title and I say, hey, I could do that. That sounds easy enough. I'm probably not going to be able to do it, right? That's kind of the way it works in real estate too. So yeah, that's really about it. Don't get oversold. Don't pay extra, okay? Just call us. We're in Westmont. We sell in other towns too, of course, right? I've been doing this for over 20 years, and I'm super excited about this new company I started, Westmont Realty. I'd appreciate your business, whether you're in Westmont or Clarendon Hills or Downers Grove, anywhere really, and we'll do a really great job for you. You're only going to pay 1% on the listing side, and then throughout the whole entire transaction, we relentlessly advocate for you. We don't make mistakes, and we handle things perfectly. And especially when we're working with other brokers, guys, I got to tell you, I won't go into it. I'll just say that that there's all different types out here. A lot of times you have some very skilled brokers that have been doing this for 20 years. A lot of times you have brokers that I don't know how skilled they are after 20 years, but we've done the complex stuff, the tough stuff in every lane in real estate. So we've got you. We've got your back. We'll do an excellent job for you. And we'll appreciate the business too. So reach out if you have a chance to. If you do digest this, please like and subscribe. Whether you're digesting this podcast on Amazon Music or Spotify or anything like that, We'd appreciate subscribe. Trying to build the systems. It's a new company. It's only our official launch date was only 9 days ago. So we're not, we're just all that stuff is super appreciated. And yeah, so give us a like, give us a subscribe. It goes a long way. And keep listening for more golden nuggets of information out here in real estate. We'll talk soon, hopefully. Thanks so much. All right, that's it for this episode of Rent or Die. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who needs to hear this. Got a wild landlord or tenant story? Hit me up. I'd love to feature it on the show. You can email it to vetshopcustomercare@gmail.com. Again, that's vetshopcustomercare@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.